Hello, I'm XPGamer77. For this creative build, I've decided to create a custom Minecraft world from scratch. Now, before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you like this content, hit the like button. Also, hit the bell to stay up to date on the next video. Recently, I discovered something that changes the way I build in this game. The mod Axiom, which is basically a better version of World Edit. I will be using the Axiom mod to help create this world. Another video will be made covering the Axiom mod. For no reason at all, I decided to mark the center with a block of netherite. Now each void world generates a platform which is at -60, which is too low, so I moved it up a little to give me some space to build vertically. So this is what one of the menus looks like with the Axiom mod. This basically gives you all of these tools to assist you in building terrain. I won't be covering how to use any of these tools in this video, but look forward in the future for a video of me covering them. I'm excited. But I start off by using the rock tool with a radius of 15, which is a decent size. I so far have a decent bit built up, which will be the beach area. I'm shaping this terrain in a way to mimic what a coastline would look like in real life. I do this by just going ever so slightly higher each layer I go back using the rock tool. I'm now starting to shape the ocean floor. Every layer that's created, I'm going slightly lower, just like on the other side, to create a decent slope. Here's a picture showing the effect and shape I'm going for. So far, this is what I've created. And you already see the slope I created with the beach going all the way inland. It does look rough, but after I'm done shaping the terrain, I'll smooth it out. I'm working on the slope of the ocean floor by using a melting tool, which basically erases any blocks in a given radius. I'm doing this to even it out before I start to smooth the terrain. Now I start to smooth, which already starts to look nicer and helps you visualize what it's going to look like. I also get to the terrain at the top, which again already looks a lot better. Now I'm using a tool that elevates the terrain and allows me to really define more of a shape to the terrain and gives it more structure. I'm doing this to the terrain that will be further inland and not where the beach is, because I'd like the beach to be mostly flat, which I then start to smooth and makes it look a lot better. The smoothing tool, my personal favorite. After smoothing, you can start to see a better definition in the terrain. Moving on, I'm adding on to the back area, part that will be inland. And with this terrain, I go through the same process. This gives you a better look at what it's going to turn out to be. So far, I think it's turning out pretty good. In the comments below, give me your feedback so far. At this point, I've decided that I want to add some sort of cliff or hill just to give more shape to the terrain. There's really no technique when it comes to smoothing. You just have to make sure you get everything and know when it's time to smooth. I'm now using a different brush on the rock tool, which is the cylinder, which basically allows me to make the top of this plateau more flat. Whereas if I use the sphere brush, which is what I've been using, it'll be a little bit more difficult to get it flat. So I think the cylinder brush is the right choice for this. But before I start to smooth it, I go back to using the elevate tool to basically elevate the terrain on and around the cliff to give it more definition and shape. After all that smoothing and terraining, in general, we have a pretty cool landscape. It's just lacking the color. So I've decided it was at a good point to start adding color to this terrain with the use of gradients. Axiom has an amazing gradient tool, which will be its own separate video in the future. Stay tuned. I start to paint the cliffside with a gradient that consists of moss, mossy cobblestone, cobblestone, andesite, and stone. After that, I go to the base of the cliff to paint. The gradient here is simply just stone to easily blend it with the other gradient. Dirt, coarse dirt, rooted dirt, and finally moss, because that's where the grass line to the terrain will start. So far, the gradients look pretty good. They are blending in well and are giving off the effect that I want. Let me know in the comments below your feedback. I'd love to hear. Now I'm starting to paint the part from where the grass line starts, all the way to the ocean bed. My gradient consists of moss, sand, birch planks, oak planks, packed mud, mangrove wood, muddy mangrove roots, and mud. Now I know what you're thinking already, but the reasoning that I'm choosing these blocks is for the pure color and texture. I completely ignore what they are named, which allows me to be more flexible and have more creativity with my builds. Trust me, it'll look great. With all that done, there are a couple of areas for me left to paint, one being the grassy area here, which I'm just using 2 blocks. Moss and mossy cobblestone just to simulate rocks being in the ground. Now the tool I'm using isn't actually the gradient tool, it's called the noise painter. I can't explain it now, but I will be making a video on it. Tune in, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm already liking this. Leave your feedback in the comments below. But I'm not done yet with painting the grass in, as I still have to paint the sides of the cliff on top. So I guess I'm calling it a cliff now instead of a hill. So far with all that complete, this is what we got. One thing I do like to do is fix any hard edges like we have here. So I'm just extending the stone part until it completely blends in with the side terrain. With the actual grass now painted on top with a command that I used from World Edit called Flora, the terrain looks 1,000,000 times better. With the land part done, I swung over to work on expanding the ocean floor bit. I'll be going through the same process of shaping, texturing, smoothing, and painting like I did before. The floor bed will just be the mud block. What's next to fill is the water. Axiom has yet another really cool tool called Flood Fill, which allows me to easily flood in the water into my terrain. But I think what we have so far is pretty good. Now, I will be infinitely expanding this world by not just only building terrain, but also building kingdoms, towns, castles, structures, and all sorts of stuff, which means this will be a long-lasting series, which is the plan anyway. So if you guys have any feedback, please feel free to share it. But unfortunately, I have to wrap things up here, so if you guys did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. It'll be much appreciated if you did, and if you guys are new, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future episodes such like this one in the future, and make sure to hit that bell to stay notified. See ya!